We're going to get started in about 5. In about 3 minutes. Grab a drink, grab a comfortable place to stand. We'll start shortly. 3 minutes. We'll get going.
I was actually talking to my friend yesterday that we were together. There's one of my favorite movies, and it's about the famous do you know what? I saw your phone, and I don't know if you know what it's so So I figured like polite and right way to start. Like, oh, I like your picture. I hate them. I'm like, what? Yeah. So I literally said, I was like, why? Do you have that? And she was like, well, it makes it easier. Okay, you're weird.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me if I speak into the mic? Hello. Good evening. Everyone in the front is like, shut up. Hi, everyone. Is that loud?
I can be a sucker.
How's this? There we are. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Who knows how to whistle? I hear one whistle in the back. Hi, everyone. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me there in the back okay? Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me okay in the back? So.
Okay.
Oh, it's getting a little hot. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Turn this way so it doesn't do feedback.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. There, yeah, find a good spot in the room. Welcome. This is the launch of BRIC's Winter 2020. What year is it? 2024 it's going to be issue, BRIC 112. Welcome to all of you. My name is Lori Graham. I am the publisher of BRIC, and I am so pleased to be in the same room with you all tonight for a little bit of conviviality. The issue is beautiful. I know I'm biased, but it is beautiful. Please feel free after our program of readers to come up and feel it in addition to buy it. Yeah, it's one of those ones that's nice to touch. We've got the live stream going on simultaneously. We've got people tuning in from everywhere. Please feel free to say where you are on the live stream. We'd love to see you there, see you existing there on the live stream. A few items of business before we get to the brief program. We are, of course, on Indigenous land. We are on land that belongs to the Mississaugas of the Credit. We're on land that is the territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, and the Chippewa peoples. We are all existing under Williams Treaty. That is something I felt very acutely these past months. I want to also say thank you to everyone who has made this issue of Brick. Orly Zivak is the managing editor. Please give her a hand. Rachel Gary is the assistant editor of Brick. Please say hi to her. If you need anything at all tonight, it's us three. Just come and talk to us. Well, anything you need. We've got all kinds of things for you to do and ingest this evening. We've got issues for sale. We've got subscriptions for sale. We've got a mighty fine deal on subscriptions. Every launch is kind of the best place to buy subscriptions. We are doing gift subscriptions. If you want to give a year's worth of Brick to someone you love, we are right now in our fundraising time of year. So if you wanted to just hurl 20s at me this evening, I will accept them. You can also, while you're buying the issue, you can also donate through with credit or debit at the front, all that kind of thing. We are selling drinks tonight for the low price of $5 a pop. We've got all kinds of nibbles on offer. Is there anything else I need to mention? Any other business to take care of? We've got caps. We made the most excellent caps. You have to come and see them and try them on. People are amazed already at the caps. They're really beautiful. I have to also, the caps were designed by Mark Bick. I have to also make it so that you clap for Mark Bick and the design he does. Yeah. So I will stop yammering here, but instead I will kick us off. Lee-Popham is going to be our first reader. Woo! Yes. Lee-Popham's first book of poetry, Empires of the Everyday, is going to come out in the spring. And I can tell you that it is a beautiful examination of what the city is doing to us right now. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. She's also a graduate of the program. I call it the program because I was in it, the Guelph MFA program. And she's going to read to you tonight from her prose piece in the issue. Please welcome Lee-Popham.
Thank you so much. It's very lovely to get to be here. In this current moment, this moment of quite exceptional horror, it's a very horrifying moment that we're living in right now. On Saturday, 2 days ago, as you all no doubt knew and know, more than 700 Palestinians were killed. Yesterday, on Sunday, my child and I flew kites in Riverdale Park as part of the global kite flight in solidarity with Gaza. So though this essay that I'm going to read an excerpt from was written before this current moment of violence, it is an attempt to navigate some of this landscape of constant, extreme, embedded violence in its various articulations and past protests that attempt to respond. Thank you all for being here together in this moment. Thank you to Rachel, to Orly, to Lori, and to all of the people at Brick. Thanks for publishing this piece and for working with me to tighten it, particularly Rachel, into the piece that it is now. This piece is called These Malignant Years. You all can hear me, I think. Okay, great. And hi, folks. It's fun that there's a live stream going on too. There is a picture of us at a rally in the mid 1980s. I'm in a stroller with balloons or a sucker or a stuffed bear. There are signs, Free Mandela or Ban the Bomb or Take Back the Night. You are wearing bell bottoms and your shoulders are relaxed. Your curly hair is full. In the photograph, I am 2 or 3 or 4. I am your calm, happy child. You are at ease in a world still new to global warming, barely introduced to Reaganomics. A decade or so after this picture is taken, you will begin a national campaign to end child poverty. You will be regularly interviewed on television, and seeing you quoted in the newspaper will feel as commonplace as reading your notes on the fridge. Leftovers for dinner, child poverty in Canada is a national disgrace. I love you, sweet pea. It will be 15 or so years before you are diagnosed with cancer. Tonight, as I draw this picture to mind, like I have many times before, I notice that the details seem changeable. If I've seen this image, why am I unclear about what I was holding? Was I really a calm child? Did you ever look as relaxed as you do in the photograph? I am suddenly uncertain this picture ever existed, that I haven't assembled it into being from stories, formed it out of a desire to mark a moment in our shared history when it seemed that Mandela would get free, the bomb banned, the night taken back. I have always held this photograph as a milestone. It is your political clarity and your stance as a white woman with, and importantly, beyond the white feminism of the 1980s. It is us in the streets. It is our future, if interrupted. I want to ask you if we went to rallies as often as I remember, what you thought was possible then in your life, your work, the country, and what you think is possible now. When I am 5, you flush red wine down the toilet after spotting the South African label. You are laughing, perhaps at the absurdity of draining the wine after already drinking a glass. During this time, we have been going to anti apartheid rallies, and the two memories superimpose red liquid splashing on white porcelain in our small bathroom, us marching with thousands of people to Toronto's Queen's Park. Thinking back, I am unsure I watched you pour out the wine, but I keep this memory intact because it helps me hear your laughter. By the mid 1990s, you are frequently on primetime news. When you come home after your first interview on CBC's The National, our small family greets you eagerly. You tell us your earpiece kept falling out, which made it difficult to appear composed. You say, as you have before, that your ears are small, seashell-like, and then you touch your earlobe with a wry smile. Do you wink when you say this? Surely not. Winking seems too obvious for you. Later, when we gather on the couch in our living room and watch the interview, we notice how often your eyes roll up to the ceiling of the recording studio when you answer questions. We laugh at how the camera catches your heavenward gaze. You laugh the loudest, your joy an explosive release of nervous tension. Years after you die, I find the tapes and watch them in a lonely basement. As you talk, I focus on your earrings, green and blue in cylindrical and triangular shapes. When I find those earrings in an old jewelry box, I hold them to my ear and pretend they are seashells, resonating the sound of waves, approaching, then receding. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds beautiful. Philip Dwight Morgan is, I believe, currently in the program and manages to write both journalism and really beautiful literary prose, which is something I envy a lot because I can't do that. He has been involved with Brick in one manner or another for a handful of years. He has been this past issue one of our stylistic editors, informally known as the Query Team. I think we should have jerseys at some point, but here he is to read a piece by Leanne Vitasamosake Simpson. Please welcome Philip Dwight Morgan.
So this piece is entitled The Breathing Lands. Can everybody hear me okay? Perfect. After the eagle and on the way home, I stopped at the house on the lake where you were staying. Two emi, sitting in the bush, spreading out the pieces between us, the ones that broke us, the 20 years since the last time we were together. Your dead mama, the ones that didn't show up, the sacrifices, yours always bigger than mine, you always bigger than me. You crying effortlessly and pulling it all out, the betrayal, the letdown, the pain. Me not feeling at all and staying inside myself. You trusting me with the mess of your life, me trusting you with very little. You are speaking from the ossuary. There is blood on your hands, and death sits beside you. The atrocities are piling up. You chose to fight with your life, and I see the bullet holes, the mosquito bites, the bruises. You, valuing the intensity of anger, resentment, and sadness as fuel for movement. You made your choices. You wouldn't have it any other way, you say over and over. Me, trained by self-care memes, $175 an hour unilateral friends whose only job is to center me. I know boundaries and attachment styles and emotional maturity. I know the difference between intimacy and intensity. I see the cracks in the looping pedal, the wounds and the scars as the programmed drum machine drives the melody forward. I see the repetition that leads to the wreckage. I see you, surprised by the mess you have draped yourself in, surprised at how things have turned out after you set them up to turn out no other way. I can see you, and you are unaware of me. And still there is a nakedness to all of this, in the bush, beside the lake, us spreading out the pieces. What you are asking of me, you cannot give in return. In that moment, with your tears and the mosquitoes holding your hand, I knew I'd love you forever, and I was able to not get caught up in your spectacle. That was your gift to me. It was clear that I also speak from the ossuary, but my ossuary looks different from yours. So different, it's been obfuscated for most of my life, but not anymore. We both left Terra Santa. You went south, back to your revolution, and I made a promise to myself to go back to the breathing lands.
Very nice. Thank you, Phil. Jessica Moore is up next. I had the great pleasure of being able to work with Jessica on this book-length project, an excerpt of which appears in the current issue. I'm gonna maybe just leave it to her to describe what happens in this work, because it encompasses all of life and then some. Art, motherhood to twins, and then out everywhere. She's the author of 2 books of poetry, Everything Now and The Whole Singing Ocean. She is also a translator, singer-songwriter, an avid gardener. Please welcome Jessica Moore.
Thank you, Lori, and thanks to Orly and Rachel and everyone at Brick for their work on this piece, and Liz. This piece is called Shadow Face, And I will just let it speak for itself. But I just want to say I'm not only so happy to have it in Brick's wonderful pages, but I'm like over the moon that one of my favorite people in the world, Jacques Houlet, has his photograph right among the paragraphs of my piece. I also have that photograph on my wall. Okay. 1. All through the winter, spring, and summer of my twins' first year, I think about what it means to be so porous as a mother. The state of care and openness I sometimes feel, letting my edges go, sensing beyond myself, can be a sort of bliss. I hold baby S or baby A and close my eyes, lean my mind toward the invisible of them, their essence. I sit in the backyard and breathe in the bergamot, let a channel open to the heavy, slow bees. Merging can be full of pleasure. 2. The character of Lila in Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan novels, translated into English by Anne Goldstein, describes a different kind of porousness. Smarginatura, which suggests bleeding outside the frame, is a printer's technical term. Ferrante uses it to gesture to something psychic, multiple. Goldstein translates this as dissolving margins. Lila first experiences this malaise, a feeling of disintegration of mental and bodily boundaries, on New Year's Eve, standing on a crowded terrace in Naples as fireworks begin to explode. She had the impression that something absolutely material, which had been present around her and around everyone and everything forever, but imperceptible, was breaking down the outlines of persons and things and revealing itself. This other kind of porousness, a fragmenting, a rupture, leaves her unhinged, terrorized. 4. For years, I've carried in the back of my mind a scene I once read of a living room gone strange. In it, the narrator, a child, comes down the stairs to find the familiar room transformed. Same chairs in the same positions, same clock ticking on the mantle, nothing out of place, but the undeniable sense that everything is different. One of the swells in my book, The Whole Singing Ocean, leads to the lines, nothing so horrifying as something different in the shape of someone you know. When I wrote this, I was thinking about night terrors and transgression, and looking back, I can see the prickling sense I knew intimately, the one that led me to write those words, is the fissure that let the green living room in. 6. At a traffic light on the way to preschool one morning, I tipped the rearview mirror down to see the twins in the back seat, both solemn, rainy day, scuffle getting out the door. Both cried about one thing or another, about my sharpness in the rush. I turn now to smile at A, and she says, "Mama, sometimes when Mama smiles, I feel sad. And sometimes when Mama feels sad, I smile." It jolts me, this expression of the ways we are impacted by each other. I turn back to the road, catch her eye in the mirror. "Are you sad now?" I ask. "No." "Hey, I can see Mama's eyes." Her gaze flicks between me and the mirror, and then she says, "When Mama does that, Mama's shadow face turns the other way." She corrects herself. Mama's reflection. But I'm haunted by this term, shadow face, and by the hidden mysteries of the people closest. What might they see in me that I don't even know is there? I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. And finally, tonight we have a writer you may have heard of called Dionne Brand. She a former instructor of the program, and also I guess, can I say now, long-time editor of Brick? It's been a few years now. Editor of Brick, member of the editorial of Brick. Please welcome Dionne Brand.
Hi.
going to read a piece in this brick by Tina Campt called Gravity, Definition for a Lexicon Thought from Black. Thinking concepts together is an endlessly illuminating exercise. It is for this reason I introduce gravity by way of a foray into flight, an adjacent term that, to my mind, makes gravity make sense. Flight, passing through the air using wings, a trip made by or in an airplane or spacecraft, a brilliant, imaginative, or unrestrained exercise or display, an act or instance of running away to rise, settle, or fly in a flock. Airborne travel through physical or mechanical locomotion, unrestrained imagination, fleeing willfully or under pursuit, coordinated or collective atmospheric elevation. Flight enunciates a break with the terrestrial, both as physical grounding and psychic or intellectual constraint. In the human imagination, it is a suspension of disbelief that allows us to embrace the idea of becoming untethered from a fundament that is the source of our sustenance. Yet flight must always be thought in tandem with the force that enables it, gravity. Etymology, circa 1500, weight, dignity, seriousness, solemnity of deportation or character, importance, from the Old French gravité, seriousness, thoughtfulness, and directly from Latin gravitatem, nominative, gravitas, weight, heaviness, pressure, from gravis, heavy. Gravity, definition, the scientific sense of downward acceleration due to the gravitation of the earth, first recorded in the 16th century. That's kind of funny, isn't it? The force that attracts a body toward the center of the earth or toward any other physical body having mass, a force by which all things with mass or energy are brought or gravitate toward one another. Gravity and flight are persistently unspoken twins. To engage and encounter one is to necessarily enunciate its inextricability from the other, as flight is a ceaseless choreography sustained in a tense relation to gravity. In some ways, it is an impossibility made real, a physical defiance of the pull we associate with Earth's gravitational force. Yet, seen through the lens of its defining apposition, flight is not an unmitigated release or escape. It is neither fully untethered nor wholly unbound. It is a masterful navigation of the ascent and descent that elevates, buoys, and holds aloft in the face of a constant threat of falling. In our terrestrial context, gravity is the drag that weighs upon the pursuit of a line of flight outward and beyond a limited or circumscribed set of grounded or grounding options. In this context, flight is a coordinated modality of exit that mobilizes rather than succumbs to gravity as a means of creating new openings and possibilities. I have focused thus far on the most widely embraced definition of gravity, one associated with an apocryphal apple drop, with an apocryphal apple drop on an otherwise unsuspecting 17th century mathematician. Isaac Newton's concept of gravity is an inescapable, earthbound pull, aligns almost seamlessly with the persistent weight of anti-blackness and the force it exerts on the possibility of living blackness otherwise. It is an understanding of gravity that all too easily maps onto the forces that press on, deform, and yet face the resolute resistance of Black bodies who refuse to capitulate to the violence and erasure of those forces, choosing instead to exploit gravity tactically and creatively in their own favor. But this lexicon and the thought practice it enacts requires a more complex conception of gravity if we are to conceive of it as an animating force of Black life. For the physics of Blackness work differently when thought from Black. When thought from Black, gravity is neither weighted nor necessarily downwardly oriented. When thought from Black, a new relationship between gravity and Black life comes into view. Gravity equals warp. Black gravity equals Black life as warp. And here, this entry takes a slightly oblique path to a different conception of gravity that offers an illuminating prism for thinking gravity from black. It is a conception and a connection that comes more clearly into view by way of a serendipitous encounter between two gifted figures. She was the voice of the century, a voice Arturo Toscanini said comes along only once in 100 years. She was the contralto, the supreme representative of her elusive category of voice. He was the father of modern physics and one of the great minds of his or any time. They met in 1937 on the campus of Princeton University at her performance at the Macarthur Theater. When Marian Anderson sang for an overflowing audience at Princeton, the Nassau Inn, at the time a whites only establishment, refused to accept her booking. She stayed instead at the home of Albert Einstein, who, upon hearing of this rejection, welcomed her warmly. They were, from that moment on, lifelong friends. For Albert Einstein, gravity is not an invisible force that attracts objects to one another. His theory of general relativity instead describes a curving or warping of time and space caused by mass and energy. The more massive an object, the more intense its effects on its surroundings and its capacity to distort time and space, which raises the question, what would it look like to think this idea of gravity from black? Rather than thinking of gravity as a downward pull against which black life perpetually struggles, I adopt Einstein's idea of gravity as warp, as a way of redefining black life's own gravitational impact. Black gravity registers as an indentation in the field of time-space, creating new configurations on our own planetary terrain. It manifests as a relation that reconfigures stars around dark matter and black holes. Black gravity leaves its impression on all social relations, curving and distorting space to accommodate the density of black life. Black gravity is more than weight or a directional force aimed at expunging black life. It demands reorientation to the space around it. Black gravity is a practice of world making that creates space for the dense matter of blackness. In 1959, Marian Anderson received an honorary degree from Princeton University, becoming the first black woman to do so. Although Einstein had since passed away, she once again stayed in his home. Marian Anderson knew what it meant to make an impression. The voice of the century used it to warp how we see and understand the capacity of the operatic voice. And Albert Einstein knew what it meant to encounter black gravity. That's Gravity, Definition for a Lexicon, Thought from Black by Tina Camp.
Thank you, Dionne. Thank you to you and to Phil and to Jessica and to Anna. One more round for them, please. And that's all for tonight. We've fogged up the windows, but you don't have to leave just yet. Please feel free to buy bricks, buy books. We've got a spelling bee even going on at the front counter. Come and test your knowledge. Grab a drink. I want to thank the Canada Council for the Arts, the Ontario Arts Council. I want to thank all of you for being here. Thank you.
Literally. I'm like, gonna be up all night. Gravity. No. I'm like, it was so good.